Hey everybody, back again. It's been a long ride. Apologies for the absence. But yeah, we've just been super busy building, developing, and growing the Truth Network. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to share with you what's been going on. So I'm going to sort of run through a quick summary of what we've been up to, some of the announcements that we've made, where we're going, also some of the insights and some of the hot topics right now and where some of the alpha might be for you guys. So yeah, thanks for your patience. Apologies for not being here. I hope you can all see me because I seem to see myself here all the time. But yeah, it's back live. Great. Nice to be here. Anyway, good to be back. I have been on the road for 3 weeks, so it's been really hard to lock in a time and get consistency and programming live. But one of the things is we've been on the road really looking at developing business and scaling, right? It's been event season, I call it. Right now, it's insane the amount of events that are taking place. But it started off in Istanbul at Crossroads, which is a big Solana event. And I was on a panel there and moderating a panel together with a number of stablecoins and payment solutions, right? Think about it. In these emerging markets, they're all about payments. It's about settling. It's about getting access to US dollars. And how do they do that? They get it via digital tokens, stable coins. How do they settle payments? They want payments in stable currencies. And so they use payment networks. And to me, it was really amazing just to see the amount of payment networks in those markets that are really settling in stable coins. So that was really good to see. And it was a really well-run event, one of the better events, really well attended. A lot of people from Turkey. So it's a big market, big population, young population, high crypto adoption, high crypto penetration. So really interesting to see. It was a great event. And I highly recommend going to this event again next year. I would do that. Yeah, there's a token 2049. So en route from to Istanbul, I went to Dubai. And so in Dubai, we met with a whole bunch of participants down there. That was a whole week in run up to it. A lot of side events, a lot of activity, a lot of different engagements taking place over there. And yeah, so you can see, yeah, from, rip signing. I mean, the speaker list was amazing, but it was also very, yeah, just lots of activity, crowded. The on and off ramps, while Dubai, amazing city, really highly impressive. I recommend anybody visit. Just modern, it's driving forward, it's leaning into technology, always has been. And again, was surprised, still surprises how fast it's moving and the adoption and the amount of people moving there as well. It's accessible, airport, easy in, out. It's an hour's drive to Abu Dhabi, which also has a big airport, also a big center. And then I think from there, it's a quick flight up to Qatar. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 major cities just within, less than an hour apart from each other. So that's fantastic. The big takeaway from Token 2049 was really RWA, tokenization of RWA. That was sort of my takeaway. That was the big theme. Everybody likes that. And ultimately, fantastic for Truth Network. So what was the Truth Network about? It was about, we're RWA. You want any real world event cryptographically verified, you go to the Truth Network. That's what we're about. And that's what we've been building out. And that's what we've been looking to engage partners for and around and about. So we'll share more with you on that. Yes, after that, I went to Vienna in Austria. So it's a bit of a roundabout tour, Istanbul, down to the Middle East, and now up to Europe, across to Vienna. There was the Sonic Summit. So index.fun is now live on Sonic and is about to go live. It's just in the final audits. So you can actually then be able to play around with it and go and create your own index, leveraging commodities, agriculture, equities, ETFs, as well as crypto assets, and build whatever you want. You can build a weather index. You can build a commodity index. You can build a gold index with Goldfinch as crypto assets, gold as a commodity, Goldman Sachs as equities, and then pick any ETF that is focused on gold. Boom, there you go, a nice gold index. But we've got some really interesting, deadlift index out there. We've got the Nancy Pelosi index that you can see here. So really good. The site's new, refreshed look. The demo's still there. We only have a demo yet because we're not going live until we've completed the audit. We want to make sure your funds are SAFU. But that's sort of what we've done at the Sonic Summit. Really impressive team, super active, hyper engaged, lean, organized, follow up, direct. You know where you're at. They're not ghosting you. They're not waiting for you. They're not drabbling you along. They're not abusing you. They don't have much hierarchy. They're flat. They're lean. They work. They are in this for the passion. And they're not a crypto token. They're not a VC token. They're bottom up, built out, owned by the community, which is really good to see. And the community is really strong. The engineering talent is amazing, and the speed is fast. So for any EVM, amazing chain, and we're super excited to be working alongside the team. Michael, Andre, Matt, and Rob, Sam, really good team. So, and Ash, really good team over there. That's the leadership team, and they're engaged. They don't hand you out down. They don't pass you on. They really are engaged, and they stay involved, and they keep the pressure on and move fast. This is a crypto company working at crypto speed and working it 24/7, and they're distributed around the world. So really good team and highly recommend it. Watch it. I can only say, I'm a big bull of Sonic and the S token. So stay tuned. We're going to be engaged there. But anyway, after Vienna, that's my takeaway from that event. So from Solana was really around payment networks and really building community, really building, really building solutions around DeFi activity and being able to generate yield and payments associated with that. You go to Token 2049, it was really around RWAs and the tokenization of assets and trying to modernize the systems that are available out there. You then go to Sonic Summit, Sonic, a new layer one chain, hyper engaged, super energetic, really why we got into crypto in the first place, run by people that are really sophisticated, building out fast chains with an amazing user experience. And a really strong community and lots of builders and smart builders, really smart builders, paying attention to the level of development taking place there, which was really impressive. Then we switch over across the Atlantic, go all the way to Toronto, end up at Consensus in Toronto, and great event, big, lots of people in Canada for this event. It was really interesting, and the topic there was yield. It's all about the yield, right? It was about yield staking, yield rewards. Where can I stake my yield? How much can I do, etc. So that was really the takeaway of that. So excuse me, 4 events in about 3 weeks. So it was pretty tiring and pretty full on, but a lot of interesting connections and meetings that would take place. We spoke in Toronto at the Futurist Blockchain Summit. We were talking about Truflation and what Truflation really does. And, sort of here is the quick presentation. We sort of ran you through this, all of you in the community, you've all heard about Truflation, why we set it up, because this guy told us it was transitory, inflation was transitory, how and where we are today, 4 countries, 100 million items that we track across those 4 countries, 3 price feeds per item, verifiable and immutable. We track it across 12 categories, unlike the government numbers, which are 6 categories. What changes is the weighting, right? Every country has different weighting. The consumers in each market purchase differently. And so we explained that. But the most important thing, why people are using Truflation right now, is we're a 45-day lead time over the government numbers. 45 days. And people are beginning to use that. And I'll get onto that a bit later. So 45 days ahead, why people are using Truflation like that, right? You see the likes of um, here, you see the likes of Julian Bittel sort of starting to use inflation, right? They're just using Truflation. They're using Truflation as the metric. They don't even talk about the government numbers anymore. So that's pretty impressive to see, right? Julian Bittel, big analyst at GMI. You follow him. He's got lots of good insights. Andreas Steno Larsen, another analyst, really heavily using Truflation versus bond yields, right? So how do we compare that against bond yields? So you're seeing that happen, right? And so follow Andreas Steno, really always good macro insights, good lead and good ideas. And again, he took another one where he looks at, again, and if our friends over at Truflation are onto something, bond yields have certainly peaked here. And so, but this was where Truflation had come down. And we saw that actually happen. You can see here, right, inflation and Truflation market. So again, Andreas using just Truflation to track inflation swaps, right? So how is real inflation and Truflation diverging? And so that's why we built this divergence index. So you can see here, we've got the white paper. It's live on truflation.com. Go over there, check it out. We have a divergent index where you can actually track the divergence between Truflation on a daily basis and how it stacks up and changes every single day against that of the government number, the Bureau of Lagging Statistics. And so we actually now have a divergent index that people will soon be able to trade as a futures on exchanges. So that's what we're really trying to work on. And that's what we go to a lot of these conferences for, to meet with institutions as well as DeFi protocols, as well as prediction markets, which will represent the future of trading of futures. These DeFi exchanges are going to, these perpetual exchanges, or these prediction markets are going to be where you trade futures in the future. How about that? And you will have future contracts tied to those futures and those derivatives that you will be trading in the future on chain using these indexes that Truflation is bringing to the market. So that was really exciting, and that's sort of really what we focused on. And you can see sort of why this 45-day lead time really, really matters. We've also been sort of working, coming back to that presentation, trying to identify together with the likes of the individuals that we highlighted and others, how we are working on other indexes, right? What can we do other than just tracking against the government numbers? So here we've got insights into Bitcoin. We've got insight into the 10-year bond yield, which you saw Andreas Steno do a lot of insights against that, right? And the Dixie, how does this contrast against the Dixie? We've already shared this into you. But again, one of the things that also people like a lot from Truflation is our prediction. Because we're 45-day lead time, how are we taking advantage of that fast 45-day lead time to help you predict where the government numbers are going to come out, so you can do your bets on traditional markets, right? And so we also do that prediction, and we do that, as you know, on a monthly basis. And we did the same again in the Truflation report. So if you're a premium subscriber or you're a pro enterprise subscriber, you get a hold actually of this information before anybody else does. And so we predicted here that Truflation was going to come out at 2.3%. And guess what? It came out at 2.3%. The market was between 2.2 and 2.6, but we got it right on the money with 2.3%. So we're pretty excited about that. And then we highlight here where we see from a Mac, and we do this on a monthly basis, where we just give you a monthly lowdown on our view of the state of the economy. So here you can see where markets prices have moved. You can check it out on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. We've written this up on Twitter post the event. If you want this before, you got to sign up to either Pro or Enterprise Edition. So please go on, sign up, ping me on Twitter, whatever. or go to the website and we'll help you out there. But if you don't want to, that's also cool. If you want to believe the Bureau of Lagging Statistics and still do investments based on old data, that's also your prerogative. Please go ahead and do so. But here we do, I mean, we give you all these upsides, we give you all these insights, all these graphs, where the industry's moving, how's it going, deep analysis, and then we give you a bit of a prediction into the future. We give you a forecast, an outlook as to how we see a trend going into the future. And what you can see is inflation slowly picking up. And we not only are telling you that that's happening, if you go to Truflation, you saw a big bump. We're now at 1.9%. So here you go. You can see right here, a huge spike upwards. And what, if you follow Truflation, you know this is a leading indicator for something. And I'll tell you what that is in a second. But what I really wanted to highlight, again, coming back, so that's one of the things that people like our prediction. And our prediction is so good that we are actually better than anybody else out in the market there. We're saying here 0.042 accuracy. Actually, we're even lower, right? You can see here, we go even lower. We're 0.03. Look at the last year. It's 0.100 deviation, right? So what's the deviation difference? And so here we're 0.092, 0.092. So the accuracy is really high. And you can see over here how accurate we are against others, right? And so it's really important to see, and yeah, good to know that ultimately we're beating the pants off our competitors, which, or if you even look at them as competitors. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And ultimately, why do we have that advantage? Because we have so much data. We have 100 plus different data suppliers, from international, institutionalized aggregators like Kantar, Nielsen, or even government data suppliers, right? We're working with the Argentinian Commerce Department around this, but we're also working with other census data. We're working with educational institutions, Penn State, and also with online, on-chain actually data sets. So on-chain with Parcel, LandX, and Sphinx around energy pricing data, etc. So why is this so important? This is Truflation. And what does Truflation do? It has all of the data. And if data is the new oil, the Truth Network is the refinery. That's where you go to ensure verification. That's where you go to ensure accuracy, transparency, immutability. And you are going there to see how the indexes are calculated, and you get full visibility on the calculator. This is the calculation agent. This is the refinery for that data, so you can actually use it and work with it. And so that is where indexes come in, and that's where the calculation agent is needed for all these indexes. And that's what Truth Network does better than anybody else. It leverages SQL, so a programming language that 15 million software engineers around the world already know how to use. It has a Roadrunner consensus algorithm, which is Byzantine fault tolerant, and it uses features and functionalities familiar that are very common in SQL programming. And that's why we've developed a SQL smart contract to ensure verifiability associated with the data, and has an amazing distribution network. And you can see it all in the Explorer. We've shared it to you many times. Here's an example of what it looks like. I gave a real live demo. Where you can actually click on the index, go to the Explorer, opens up the Explorer, and you can go down, 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 down in all of the composed details into down all the way to the primitive data source. And then basically you can go into GitHub and get your SDKs and start working with it. Documentation all there live for everybody to see. So yeah, so that's sort of really what we demoed. But the interesting thing for us is, now that all this data is available on the Truth Network, what's the Truth Network doing with it, and how can you tap into it? You can tap into it by having these SQL smart contracts and build your own indexes. We've got a number of indexes that are already created. I showed you earlier the divergent index, but here you've got an EV index that you know about, the purchasing power index, which is a really cool index coming up, hedge, deadlift, AI, GameFi, there are a whole bunch. The GameFi index was super exciting to people in Toronto, right? Everybody loved the GameFi category, especially at the Futurist conference. So that was really interesting. What are we doing about that, and how do we scale that? So that was really the presentation that I gave in Toronto. And all the meanwhile, after all those events, all said and done, we started to sort of focus again in parallel. The team was building, right? Building, announcing, launching new products. And what were those new products, right? I mean, it's a bit of a promo show right now, but I'll get to some interesting insights really very soon around some of the activities taking on. But one of the things was, how is the Truth Network? How did it come about? We announced an acquisition with Quill. So we bought Quill, decentralized technology, and that is now a part of the Truth Network and is going to move forward. Quill was a build program. We met with them some 3 years ago and started building Truth Network in Austin, and started building together and scaling up the Truth Network together with Quill, the team over there. And we decided this was so critical to the Truth Network and our intentions on where we want to go. And we'll highlight a lot more. I'll bring on Vin Armani, who's joined the team, and we will be announcing that shortly, just so you can see the direction that we want to go with this and where we want to go. So yeah, interesting acquisition. A lot of the technologies we've been working together with the Quill team to develop, and now we've brought that in-house and are open sourcing that so anybody can contribute to it. And you look at amount of contributors there already, in developers are picking up and working with it. There's some really interesting insights, and we'll be sharing some interesting blogs around there on that, and what's all the stuff that's going on around Quill, around Truth Network and using Quill, obviously. The other thing is announced within the Quill network, and given the fact that we have all these data sets, how do we allow you to work with those data sets and embed and work with AI tools around that? And so we're building and enabling MCP compliance associated with the Truth Network. So MCP is a new technology that a lot of you are working, model context protocol, go beyond traditional APIs. MPC supports real-time bidirectional communication and seamless integration across AI tools and data sources. So the Truth Network is the data source, and we're providing seamless integration into AI tools associated with that data, with fault isolation. So just imagine, anytime in the past, we would use a lot of APIs, right? And so you're an app developer consuming the API. There's a change that took place on the API or the data formats inside the API as it gets delivered to your application. Any change has an impact on your application. And then you need to then adapt your app to meet that change in the API feed that's providing the data set that you are working off. Now, all of a sudden with MCP, that becomes a lot easier. You automatically are adjusting. It is smart enough and has modules set around that to recognize the changes that have taken place and automatically adjust the code base on the app level to that change that's taken place. So those are things that are going to improve automation and improve and simplify that process, reducing dev time and improving effectivity and reliability on your data sets. So again, all of this SQL powered. So this is coming soon to the Truth Network, a hidden gem, undervalued, underappreciated, underannounced, underknown, but this is coming now. So things that you don't get anywhere else. Nobody else has the data. Nobody else has verified 100 million data items on real world events. And it's so funny. I go to all these conferences and you meet all the people and nobody knows. And they all talk about, oh yeah, we do real world data. And how the hell do you get the event data? Where do you get it from? Yeah, we pull it from one API supplier. One API supplier is managing your price feeds. Your price feed goes down. What happens if they change their API and boom, your price feed goes down? Your whole pricing models, all the liquidations kick in. because you cannot supply a price update. The DeFi protocol, where that asset is being used as collateral, receives a zero-date pricing data, boom, drops price, liquidation happens, and boom, you have another event like Mantra, right? So those are things that you cannot just do. You cannot just rely on a single price feed in the Web2 world. And that's why you need the Truth Network, just one added value that we provide. And that's going to be one strong differentiator that we will be communicating really soon and going really strong on. But I think, just coming back to the prediction and our prediction capability, that's the Truth Network. We're super good at that. Again, subscribe to our Twitter program. You get these updates. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't want to pay, you're stingy, you're Scottish, you're Swiss, you're from Israel, wherever, you don't want to spend any money, that's cool too. Just you can go and sign up and log in and follow our Truflation site. That's what's happened, right? You get it, maybe not on time, but you still get it ahead of most other people. And we try to be as accurate as we possibly can. As you see, our numbers have proven it. So sign up to Truflation, follow Truflation on Twitter. And if you really want, you also get newsletters. And so one thing we saw is when the markets changed. So exactly when this happened, when we saw a big shift happen, right? So it went from here, 1.8 all the way up to 1.99. So it went up nearly 0.2%. Again, if you're signed up to Truflation, it's climbing. You get a notice here, right? So sign up, follow Truflation on Twitter. You get a notice here. Inflation's climbing. Why is inflation climbing? Why? I don't understand. I want to know why. Okay, rented dwellings, housing is going up. People are paying more rent. Maybe the real estate prices are coming down, transactions are lower and lower, but people are paying more rent. Rent prices are going up, right? So you're seeing that. Gas prices slowly moving up at the pump. Where do we get our gas prices from? How do you guys know it? Check out gasbuddy.com. We work with them. We work with a number of other providers. Not only are gas prices going up, the whole transportation category is going up. And transportation is about 13 to 14% of household spending. So you can come here, you can go to the composition, you can then see transport. Transport is, 19% of household spending. So boom, you get, again, more visibility, more insights. What do you do with that? How do you trade on that? You can find who are the biggest US secondhand car dealers. Are they making bigger margins? Are they going to do well? Those are all insights that you are gaining alpha associated with a simple subscription or a simple following on our X account. So do that if you just want that. But again, all that does is drive price, and it's a big portion of it, right? So strong demand, fuel efficient hybrid models. So those models are beginning to grow, right? So it's not so much I just want to use less fuel. Let's put it like that. Concerns over new car tariffs, what's that coming, and increased trade-in value. So trading in is you're getting a better deal for your trade-in, so you can get a new car at the same time. So those are things that you get advantage on. And what does that mean, right? I mean, why and how can you benefit from this information, right? A big shift like this has a big impact. And we can see here, if you follow, again, if you sign up to the newsletter, if you follow our blog, and here, the simple button, guys, subscribe. That's all you need to do, right? Just subscribe and you get alpha, you get insight. So here you can find hidden signals using Truflation data and how that helps you with your Bitcoin purchases and your Bitcoin decision. That's just one angle. And if you remember in the presentation I shared just earlier, you saw a whole bunch of different elements where we talk about 10-year bond, we talk about the yield, we talk about all the other things over there. What a Dixie. We talked about 10-year yield, Dixie, I think that was it, Bitcoin, etc. So you can actually we're trying to find more. The team are working and trying to back test and validate, and we'll be sharing more. But you have to be a premium subscriber to get this first before it gets public. and published here. So super easy. It's 79 bucks a month. That's less than 10 Starbucks coffees a month. Come on, I mean, if you can't afford that for your personal wealth and your gain, just cut back on the Starbucks coffee, brew the coffee at home. It'll cost you 10 cents versus $6. A black coffee, not if you want a matcha with cream on top, then you might have to pay a bit more, and that may cost a little bit more at home. But actually, if you think about it realistically, here you go. You can then put some extra money into Bitcoin and find out when things happen. But here, what we're doing here is we're just telling you that every time it peaks, the Bitcoin price the Bitcoin price goes up, and it goes up as long as Truflation goes up. If you were waiting for the BLS signal, it's again Bureau of Lagging Statistics. That L stands for something, right? And so here you got all the analysis. Check it out. Go check out the blog. You've got a detailed breakdown. You see it really clearly around the third and fourth instances on the impact that has and the uptick of where this could possibly be going. And guess what? People are making investment decisions around that. Someone just opened a 134 million long position on Bitcoin. He knows what's coming. Of course he knows what's coming because he's a subscriber to Truflation. So if you're a subscriber to Truflation, maybe you can take part and be benefiting from this kind of interpretation and translation. Yeah, so that's sort of where we're at. I've shared most of what we've been up and working on and developing and announcing. But I think one thing is you get additional advantage. Yeah, so here another one, Daniel DiMartino booth and Professor Plum is 99. Those in the know. If you know, you know. But yeah, he did analysis to the 10-year yield, right? So GOC 87, US 10-year inflation versus Truflation, right? And so red lines. And again, another interpretation. Follow Truflation, get some insights, figure out where the market's going, the economy's going, and how you can benefit from that and what that means. But what I really wanted to talk about today is, again, if you're following us and subscribing to us and the channels that we have out there, you will have heard about the Genius Act already a month ago. Here we are talking about it, super hot and on the news. But again, 30 days ago, we wrote a blog that we think the industry is going to go to $2 trillion in 2 years. And you think we're crazy, but I don't think we're crazy. Why? Because this Genius Act, if you study the Genius Act, will allow every single bank that is holding treasuries to mint stablecoins. So you've just bought US dollar debt that in 10 years will get paid back. It's earning interest. You will buy those treasury bills and you will then mint a stablecoin and resell that capability of that return to the retail market in the form of stablecoins. Number one, it's more efficient. It's more direct to customer. You don't need to use old, stodgy payment rails. You can run on any blockchain. You can decide to mint it on Solana, on Ethereum, on HBAR, on Ripple, whichever chain you want to do. But if you hold those treasuries, you've got it backed and you are allowed to mint. You don't need to ask permission. You just need to go to the OCC and inform them. You don't need to go to the Federal Reserve and ask permission. And that also at the same time, and you can see here, we write about it here, is going to reduce the influence of Mr. Powell in the market. And so again, we wrote another blog about this. This was in March 31. So again, that's 21 days, 3 weeks advance notice. What does that mean? How are you positioning yourselves? What does the stablecoin market, that new liquidity coming into the market, once this passes, what does that mean? Where are they going to put that liquidity? How is that going to be put to work? If you, a small, medium business, are asking for a loan, you get that loan in stablecoins. What do you do with that loan? Do you immediately send it across to your counterpart in your supplier in the US, in China, in Turkey, in wherever. They want to sell you this XYZ product. You got to deliver that. You're going to pay them in stablecoin. Why? Much cheaper. Instant settlement, right away, wallet to wallet, peer to peer. How are you, as a small, medium business, going to build your business? What tools do you need? What framework do you need? What multi-sig wallets? Which custodian? Are you going to use a custodian? Are you going to be self-custody? All of these questions are going to boom in the US market. And this is the biggest economy in the world. And that is going to ultimately drive huge innovation and drive huge adoption of the stablecoin industry. And you can read about this in these 3 blogs. Go to my Medium page. These are my personal posts, but they've been adopted. And not only that, you've got Europe. How is this going to impact Europe? You can actually go and look and see the Genius Act is just going to squash any other currency. The US dollar is going to dominate even stronger. It already dominates in the crypto world, and it dominates in the fiat world, and now it's going to dominate even more as more and more industries will accept and understand the US dollar, and it will be transmitted a lot faster, a lot more seamlessly. It will go on public chains, not on private chains, and they will be swappable and fungible with any other US dollar. I can have US Tether, I can swap it to JP Morgan coin dollar, I can swap it to Ripple dollar, I can swap it to any other currency out there. And maybe some will only focus on B2B transactions, settlement between big banks. That may also be possible. So all of these other monetization opportunities are going to come about, right? And so here we talk about the comparison to the MiCA Act. What does that mean? We look at, I mean, you can read these articles. I'm not going to read them to you because I don't want to keep you holding. I'm already in my 30-minute limit, but you can see here all the different insights and details for that. But yeah, this is a big act. This is really important to monitor and track. They already passed the Congress and is now up at Senate, right? So the Senate will vote tomorrow, 11:30. That's today, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, on the motion to proceed debate on the Genius Act. So they're already sitting here. Motion, here you go. Motion to proceed to the consideration. It's only 10 a.m. Oh no, 10 minutes to go. Whoa, is this really live? Motion to proceed to the consideration of the Genius Bill. There you go. So they're getting ready. They're drumming up. It's interesting. Exciting, eh? Yeah, I've been in Canada too long, eh? Anyway, yeah, so that's really it. Check out those blog posts. If you like to, it gives you a quick summary. You can read them. But ultimately, it's going to inject a lot of liquidity. It is going to be tied to debt, right? So it's backed by debt and backed by the promise that the ability of the US government will be able to follow up and pay that $10 bill. It's AA1 rating, as we found out, right? The rating agencies dropped. Everybody panicked a bit on Sunday. Funny how they did that on Friday after the market closed, and then in anticipation, and announced it then. So the whole weekend we got to worry, what's that going to mean to the market, how that's going to impact the industry. Monday market opens down a little bit, but very quickly we came back up, right? Because it's really a nothing burger. I mean, really, I mean, if the US loses its rating, any other market will, everybody has no rating. And by the way, all the governments are in debt. We know that, right? So everywhere around the world, and you don't want to mess that up. But here you go. They talk about it. Senator Haggerty comes out and sort of said, I look forward to making history with my colleagues by passing the Genius Act. So once it passes Senate, it's then in roll. We are on for rock and roll. Liquidity is going to come to crypto. Let's keep it in crypto. Those on-ramps are coming. They are automatically going to be there. And then let's make sure we shut down the off-ramps. There are no more off-ramps. You stay in crypto. Once you're in crypto, you are in crypto for all the time. Why? Because it's the easiest way. You can choose if you want custodied money or you want self-custody. Guess where most preferences, I would think, lie. If you are a responsible citizen, you look after your own finances, you are taking control of your life, you will look after custody on your own, and you may have some of it on custodied solutions, e.g. on an exchange, on Coinbase, on Kraken, maybe Bybit, OKX, KuCoin, wherever you want it, or you may have it on a traditional custodian like a BitGo, where you pay more, but those will get cheaper and cheaper because you will see that at the same time, the banks that are going to be minting stablecoin will also take on custody services. And one thing that the banks will have an advantage is they will be able to mint you a stablecoin and give you that loan in a stablecoin. And at the same time, they will be earning 4.8% yield or interest on the 10-year bill that they've purchased. And so they will live on that spread. And that's how they need to operate. They need to operate between the spread of cost of capital and the income on the loan side. And their OPEX in the middle is really where they have to become efficient and drive efficiencies and gains. But ultimately, it is a boom of capital coming into the market, direct to the consumer, not anymore through centralized entities, but more direct through local banks who know the local businesses more and pay attention to that. So that's really it. Just wanted to share that with you. And I'm back. We're coming back regularly on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we'll do more AMAs, so we'll get more other people to speak. So you don't just hear my monologue, but you get other people. And on the Wednesdays, we'll do a deeper dive into what's coming and what's the news from Truflation. We'll have a lot more content coming out. We've got lots more to report. We've got a thriving ecosystem building on top of the Truth Network, which we're really excited about. And one of those ecosystem partners is the Plume Network. So check out Plume. Plume has a prediction market called Cultured. Cultured is allowing you to predict on RWA events or real world events. And guess where they're getting their indexes from? It's from the Truth Network, ultimately developed by Truflation, but they're subscribing to that data set from the Truth Network. So really exciting to see how our ecosystem is growing and more of the participants are taking part in it. And we've got tomorrow at 1400 UTC, we are going to be having that's 1600 European time. And that is, I don't know what time in Asia and what time on the East Coast. But if I look at my calendar, I can very quickly tell you what that is. Yeah, are you seeing the right image? Yes, you are. No, you're not. This is what I'm seeing. So you can see Cultured, run by Tiffany, Steve at Plume, one of the co-founders, and then Stefan over here. Yeah. So we're excited to be working with a chain that's working on the RWA. And focused on that category. Why? Because they need a source of truth, right? So we've been talking to some of these prediction markets, and what we found is, for example, they have eggflation, right? They all have an egg predictor. Where is the price of eggs going to go, right? And so ultimately, where is the price of eggs going to go, up or down, right? And they only have one source. They either use the BLS, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. They either use the Cleveland now casting solution or they use the FDA. But what does Truflation do? Truflation has an egg index. You can come right here and you can see how many different sources for the eggs we got. Let's go here, search eggs. And by the way, there's an eggs token. So here you can see 5.53 for a dozen of eggs, $5.53. And guess what? The sources are Nielsen IQ, Numbeo, the BLS, and the USDA, right? Department of Agriculture. Wow, we got 4 sources of price feeds for one index. So one goes down, you still got 3. One corrupts it, you still got 3 others to offset the corrupt one, right? And so that's how we do it. And you can actually get it every single day. You get it updated. So that's it. It's down 0.54. The price of eggs are coming down. And if you notice, small touch, it's green. Why? Prices go down. People are thinking it's green. It's not the other way around, against contrary to other markets. But excited to see and really looking forward to tomorrow. Come and join. Let me tell you what the times are. I said, right, 14 UTC is 4 p.m. in It's 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. Hong Kong time or Singapore time, and 4 p.m. Central European time. So yeah, join if you want to listen to that. It'll be fun. We'll be promoting that as well. Check it out. And it is going to be live. Do we know where? Follow us on Truflation. You'll find out where that's going to show. Don't miss it. Um, I'm not even sure. Here, it's a Spaces. There you go. Super easy. Join here, Spaces. I'm going to set myself a reminder. Super easy. Go check it out. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.